In 1810, the Peugeot family opened a steel foundry in eastern France. Their first products were saw blades, coffee grinders, and pepper mills. 216 years later, the same family name sits on a twin-turbo V6 hybrid hypercar that races at Le Mans. From kitchen tools to a car company older than Mercedes, older than Ford, older than every other automaker still in business. This is the 7 levels of Peugeot, from the entry point all the way up to something that most manufacturers could never even attempt. Level 1. The Peugeot 208. This is where the lineup starts, and for an entry-level Super Mini, the 208 punches well above its weight. The exterior borrows the Lion Claw LED light signature from the rest of the range, giving it a family resemblance to cars costing twice as much. Inside, you get the iCockpit, which is the single most divisive design choice in the mainstream car market right now. The steering wheel is tiny. Deliberately, almost comically small, Peugeot positions it low so you look over the top of it at the instrument cluster instead of through the spokes. Some drivers love it because it makes a Super Mini feel like a go-kart. Others never get used to it. There is no middle ground. The 208 comes with a 1.2-litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol, a 48-volt mild hybrid, or a fully electric E208 with a 50 kilowatt-hour battery and a range of around 230 miles. It won European Car of the Year in 2020, the 6th time a Peugeot has taken that award. The E208 GTI, revealed at Le Mans in 2025, takes the Super Mini to another level entirely. 277 brake horsepower from a single electric motor, a mechanical limited slip differential, and a 0 to 62 time of 5.5 seconds. That makes it quicker than the Alpine A290 GTS and the Mini Electric JCW in a Super Mini. Prices for the standard 208 in the UK start from just over £20,000, while the E208 GTI is expected around £35,000. Neither the Renault Clio nor the Volkswagen Polo gives you a cabin this dramatic at any price point. Level 2. The Peugeot 2008. Take everything about the 208 and raise it off the ground. The 2008 is Peugeot's compact crossover, built on the same platform as the 208 but with more ride height, more boot space and a chunkier look that sells extremely well in markets where everyone wants an SUV but nobody wants to park a full-size one. It shares the same powertrain options as the 208, including the fully electric E2008, and keeps the iCockpit layout with the small steering wheel. The difference is the proportions. The 2008 actually feels like a small SUV inside in a way that the 208 never pretends to be. For families with 1 or 2 young children who need a pushchair in the boot and enough rear legroom to stop the arguments, this is realistically where most Peugeot buyers end up. The electric E2008 gives you 0 emissions and qualifies for the UK government's electric car grant, which knocks £1,500 off the price at the point of order. It is not the most exciting car on this list by a long way, but it is the most practical thing Peugeot sells at this price. Level 3, the Peugeot 308. The 308 is where Peugeot starts to get serious about competing with the Volkswagen Golf, and the latest version makes a genuine case for itself. It just received a significant facelift for 2026 that brought a refreshed interior, a larger 10-inch infotainment screen, and updated i-toggles that let you customize the shortcut buttons on the center console. Powertrain options now include a mild hybrid, a plug-in hybrid with over 50 miles of electric-only range, a diesel, and a fully electric E308. There is also a 308 SW estate for buyers who need the extra cargo space, which gives you 548 litres with the rear seats up. What makes the 308 interesting is the design. Peugeot stopped trying to be understated and went aggressive. The front end has a frameless grille, vertical LED fangs, and a stance that is genuinely distinctive on a road full of anonymous hatchbacks. The plug-in hybrid version is popular with company car drivers in the UK because the low emissions translate to very low benefit-in-kind tax, which makes the monthly cost surprisingly affordable on a salary sacrifice scheme. Level 4. The Peugeot 3008. This is the car that changed how the industry looked at Peugeot. The original 3008 was forgettable. The second generation won European Car of the Year in 2017, the first SUV to ever take that award. The current third generation, launched in 2024, pushed things even further. Inside, you get the panoramic eye cockpit, which is a 21-inch curved LED screen that stretches across the dashboard, combining the driver's instruments and the central touchscreen into a single panel. It looks like something from a concept car, and it works. The 3008 sits on the STLA medium platform, which was designed from the ground up for electric vehicles. That matters because the E3008 long-range version carries a 98 kilowatt-hour battery and delivers a claimed range of 435 miles on a single charge. That is one of the longest ranges of any electric SUV on the market right now, competing with cars that cost significantly more. There is also a dual-motor all-wheel drive version with 325 horsepower that hit the market in 2025. Prices do climb quickly into BMW X1 territory as you move through the trim levels, which is either a sign of ambition or a problem depending on how you feel about French badge prestige. Peugeot has sold over 130,000 units of the current 3008 across Europe since launch, with the electric version making up nearly a quarter of that total. The company also recently realigned pricing across its entire UK range to bring entry points down, which means the hybrid 3008 now starts below the £40,000 threshold that triggers the expensive car supplement on road tax. Level 5. The Peugeot 408. This is the car that nobody asked for and that Peugeot built anyway. The 408 is a fastback crossover. Not a sedan, not an SUV, not a coupe. Something in between all three, with a roofline that sweeps down like a four-door coupe, ground clearance that sits higher than a traditional saloon, and proportions that make it one of the most distinctive shapes on the road right now. It launched in 2022, and there is still nothing else quite like it in the mainstream market. The 408 is available as a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, and now a fully electric E408. It rides on the same platform as the 308, which means it handles well despite its unusual proportions. Inside, it gets the same eye cockpit treatment with the small steering wheel and elevated instrument display, plus a 360-degree camera system and the full suite of driver assistance technology. The 408 is Peugeot's answer to a question most brands are afraid to ask. What happens if you stop copying what everyone else is doing and build the shape you actually want to build? The result divides opinion in showrooms, but it is impossible to ignore on the road. Whether you love the shape or not, the 408 is proof that Peugeot is willing to take design risks that most mainstream brands would never sign off on. And for buyers who are tired of the crossover formula that every other brand copies from each other, this is genuinely refreshing. I go through the comments on every video, and one thing I see constantly is people underestimating Peugeot because of the badge. If you are finding this helpful, hit subscribe. I cover the full range of automotive brands every week. Now let us keep going, because the last two levels are where things get serious. Level 6. The Peugeot 508 PSE. PSE stands for Peugeot Sport Engineered, and the 508 PSE is the closest thing Peugeot has to a performance sedan. It uses a plug-in hybrid powertrain combining a 1.6-litre turbocharged four-cylinder petrol engine with two electric motors, one on the front axle and one on the rear, giving it all-wheel drive and a combined output of 360 horsepower. 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 5.2 seconds. For context, that is quicker than a BMW 330e plug-in hybrid and puts it in the same conversation as cars with much larger engines. The 508 PSE gets 20-inch wheels, bespoke suspension tuning, uprated brakes, a focal premium sound system, and kryptonite green accents on the stitching and badging. The interior is low-slung, almost cockpit-like, and the high transmission tunnel and contoured dashboard make it feel more intimate than most mid-sized sedans. Prices sit around £55,000 in the UK. That is expensive for a Peugeot, and critics will say you are paying BMW money for a French badge. The counter-argument is that no BMW in this price range gives you a plug-in hybrid with all-wheel drive, 360 horsepower, and design this striking. The 508 PSE shares visual DNA with the 9X8 hypercar, right down to the kryptonite claw logo that sits above the main Peugeot badge on the nose. It is the most direct connection between the racing program and the showroom floor. Level 7. The Peugeot 9X8. This is where the levels stop making sense in normal car terms because the 9X8 is not a road car. It is a Le Mans hypercar built by Peugeot Sport to compete in the FIA World Endurance Championship and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The powertrain is a 2.6-litre twin-turbo 90-degree V6 producing 680 horsepower, paired with a 200-kilowatt electric motor on the front axle and a 900-volt high-density battery co-developed with Saft. Total system output is capped at 500 kilowatts by the regulations. The car was designed with no rear wing. That decision made headlines in 2021 when the car was revealed, because no top-class Le Mans car had gone without a rear wing since the 1960s. Peugeot's aerodynamicists calculated they could generate enough downforce through the floor and diffuser alone. The revised version added a rear wing for the 2024 season after competitive results fell short of expectations, but the original concept demonstrated how far Peugeot was willing to push boundaries. The 9X8 is the successor to the Peugeot 905, which won Le Mans back-to-back in 1992 and 1993, and the 908 HDI FAP, which won in 2009 with pioneering diesel technology. In 2026, Peugeot is celebrating a century at Le Mans. Their first entry was in the 1920s. 100 years later, the Lion badge is still on the starting grid. The 2026 livery pays tribute to the legendary 205 GTI with a white, red and black colorway, tying the racing program directly to the road car heritage. The name itself tells the story. The 9 comes from the racing lineage of the 905 and 908. The X represents the all-wheel drive hybrid technology, and the 8 is the number that connects the entire modern range, from the 208 all the way up. A company that started making coffee grinders and pepper mills over 2 centuries ago is now building one of the most advanced racing cars on the planet. From a £20,000 Super Mini with a steering wheel the size of a dinner plate to a hybrid hypercar doing over 200 miles per hour at Le Mans. That is 7 levels of Peugeot. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing and we will see you in the next one.